13 News at 5 starts right now.
I knew I was dead.
She was shot 8 times.
They said I had 8 shots, 2 in the head.
And lived. Now the man responsible, her own husband, could be getting out of prison. I'm Sandra Parker. Tonight, why he could be getting out after only 3 years and what she's doing to make sure he remains behind bars.
Then Hurricane Isabel made her home unlivable and her insurance company refused to pay. Now she's being kicked out of the trailer she's been using. I'm Regina Mobley. Tonight, her battle to rebuild her home and why she says her family has nowhere else to go.
And fighting the bird flu. Tonight, see how work here in Hampton Roads could lead to faster, more powerful vaccines. But our big story on 13 News is developing right now in the city of Portsmouth.
That's where 2 people have taken to a hospital after a crash between a car and a Portsmouth K9 unit. You're looking at pictures from Sky 13 over Crawford Street in Portsmouth this afternoon. Now police are looking into what caused the crash. Let's go down to the ground with 13 News reporter Sella Kim on the scene. Sella, what's the latest?
Well, the cause right now, Regina, is still under investigation, but right here behind me, Crawford Street North, Port Center Parkway just cleared up about an hour ago. 2 people injured in this crash, a driver and a police officer. The officer is expected to survive the injuries. This Hyundai totaled after the crash, and you can see the damage on the side of this K9 vehicle. The impact was so strong that Barbara Richardson heard the noise from inside this building.
Yes, I was wondering. I knew it was an accident from the sound of it, so that's what brought me to the door.
It happened around 2:15 while the officer was responding to an alarm at the Guardian Federal Credit Union a few blocks away. Both the officer and the driver of this Hyundai were taken to the hospital. A dog in this K9 vehicle suffered minor injuries.
So I was really glad that, this officer, I'm really glad no one was hurt really bad, to the point where it was, no one died today.
The corner of Crawford Street North and Port Center Parkway was blocked off for about 2 hours while the reconstruction took place and the scene was being cleaned up. Richardson says although the scene looked messy, she's just glad it didn't take anyone's life.
I don't want to lose nobody on the streets because, death is so final,
Now, the alarm call to the Guardian Federal Credit Union turned out to be a false alarm. The cause, again, still under investigation, and tonight, police are not releasing the identities of the victims yet. Reporting live in Portsmouth, I'm Sella Kim, 13 News.
Also tonight, a 13 News investigation into a parole problem in the Virginia legal system. Tonight, a Virginia Beach woman who was the victim of a horrible crime says that she is being violated again, and this time by the system.
This is the story of Doris Morgan. 20 years after being shot by her husband 8 times, she's still struggling with her injuries, but now she's also suffering emotionally because of what the law may allow. 13 News anchor Janet Roach explains why he may be out of prison and the efforts to keep him behind bars.
I knew I was dead, but I woke up, and somebody asked me who did this to me, and I told them.
What Doris Morgan told them on a fall day back in 1985 is that it was her own husband, William Morgan, who shot her 8 times in a beach school parking lot as she cowered in her car, shielding herself with only her hands.
They said I had 8 shots, 2 in the head.
2 in the shoulder, the arm, 1 in the knee, and for the bullet meant for the middle of her forehead.
My hand caught it, and it went through and it mangled my hand.
The husband took off. The Morgan son rushed to see what happened.
And I saw the brutality of the shooting. I saw the blood everywhere and the glass everywhere, and I knew instantly who did it.
And for the next 16 years, William Morgan was nowhere to be found.
You got you. There you go.
His now ex-wife was mangled, partially paralyzed, left to relearn how to walk and talk.
It's a hard thing to look at your body and see how bad it is. And I had to learn to accept that.
Then in 2002, investigators caught Morgan in Florida. He had been living under several aliases. They brought him back to Virginia and put him in jail.
And when the policeman came in and said, William Morgan has been caught, I was in shock for several days.
Now, after a conviction of malicious wounding in May, Morgan is up for parole 6 months after his sentencing and after spending only 3 years behind bars.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it was just to shoot someone 8 times.
Carlene Hudgkins is Mrs. Morgan's hairdresser at Salon Mary Versprilli, where a petition is circulating against Mr. Morgan's release.
It just seems such a tragedy for something like that to happen to a person.
In 1995, parole was abolished in Virginia, but since the crime happened in '85, the old law applies, making Morgan eligible for parole after serving a sixth of his 15-year sentence.
How can that be? I don't understand.
Mr. Morgan's attorney says his client unraveled after a failed marriage. He argued an insanity defense and says the decorated former Navy commander and airline pilot deserves to get out.
He was insane under Virginia law because of the combination of the prescription drugs he had been given, the Xanax, which he didn't know at that time, combined with alcohol, could cause this reaction.
Mr. Morgan testified during his trial that he couldn't remember anything about what happened that day. His attorney has filed an appeal with the Court of Appeals, and meanwhile, friends and family of Mrs. Morgan continue to contact the parole board in hopes of keeping Mr. Morgan behind bars. Janet Roach, 13 News.
Breaking news in Norfolk to bring you. Sky 13 is over a house fire at 980 Rugby Road off Tidewater Drive in Norfolk. Firefighters are on the scene working to keep the fire from spreading to the home next door. We'll bring you more details on this fire when they become available.
Now to a developing story in the city of Suffolk. That is where one family battling to come back after Hurricane Isabel has been given a strict deadline. We all remember the scenes 2 years ago, extensive damage, power lines down, and lives ripped apart. Every Hampton Roads city was affected, and some people are still on the road to recovery. Well, now a Suffolk family says it's gotten word from FEMA to get out of their government-issued trailer. 13 News reporter Lindsay Roberts joins me now with the story. Lindsay, what's this all about?
Well, Sandra, the family left everything they own inside their home after finding out it's all contaminated with dangerous mold. FEMA gave them a temporary trailer to help out, but on Sunday, FEMA is taking it back.
Everything we own is in there.
Just feet from where she now lives, Sandra Grant's life is locked inside the contaminated place she and her 3 kids used to call home.
We watched water coming all down the walls.
In 2003, Hurricane Isabel ripped off the roof and shattered windows, allowing the outside in. Grant's insurance company paid $6,000 to fix the roof and windows. But months later, an inspector found high levels of toxic mold. The levels are so high, without protective clothing, it's not even safe to go inside.
I put the 2 younger ones at whatever neighbor's house I could find, and my son and I rode it out in my truck and in a tent until FEMA came to the rescue.
That was June of 2004. FEMA allowed Grant to stay in this trailer a year to get on her feet. Since then, she says she's been fighting with her insurance company to fix her home.
I went out to work to just try to survive. To find somewhere else to live with $900 in mortgage, I mean, that's sort of hard.
But Grant's insurance company won't help, and now FEMA says it's helped enough.
It says that as of the 27th of November, that my lease has been terminated on this house, and if we do not evacuate on the 27th, they will send the U.S. Marshal to evacuate us.
Grant says she now has nowhere to go.
I'm down, and I'm just keep getting pushed to the side further and further. Nobody seems to care.
Grant now plans to file a lawsuit against her insurance company. Today, we called Augusta Mutual, but no one returned our calls. Grant says right now she has no choice but to wait until the authorities force her out of that temporary trailer. Reporting live, Lindsay Roberts, 13 News.
Navy sailors are getting a crash course on how not to drive during the holiday season, or any time for that matter. The reminder, do not drink and drive. It seems like this on Interstate 264 4 years ago that the Navy doesn't want to see happen again. That's when a Navy sailor drove the wrong way on 264 near the oceanfront, killing himself and 3 other people. 13 News military reporter Mike Gooding is in the newsroom with a look at this DUI crash course for the Navy. Mike.
Well, Regina, the statistics are pretty sobering. The Navy lost 58 sailors last year in various car accidents, and so far this year, in the first 6 weeks of this fiscal year, 18 sailors have been killed, the worst start ever for a year for the Navy. And the sad fact is the vast majority could have been avoided. It's called the Street Smart program. Firefighters and paramedics from Orlando, Florida came to Naval Station Norfolk to talk to a large group of young Navy sailors and basically try to scare them straight.
They face dangers as a car crash is the #1 killer of people their age. And we want to bring that information to them and show them the consequences of their actions. We'll show them the consequences of drinking alcohol and jumping in a vehicle and driving. We'll show them the consequences of not wearing a seatbelt.
The images shown were pretty grim. Some of the sailors couldn't even watch. They used an egg inside a cylinder to demonstrate what happens to internal organs in a crash. They used a volunteer from the audience to demonstrate painful and not always successful life-saving techniques used in traumatic collision cases, the vast majority of which could have been avoided only if drivers used better judgment about substance abuse and wearing their seat belts. The presentation made an impression.
It does shake people up. I mean, just the graphic nature of the program, but...
You think it's an important message for young people to hear?
I believe it is. I mean, like I said, it does give us the opportunity to see what can happen when you don't do the right thing.
I don't see how people can sit through this and watch this and still they'll go home and not even think twice. That's not going to happen to me. I mean, it can happen to anybody.
And here's another important statistic for you. The Orlando paramedics said today you are 25 times more likely to be thrown from a vehicle and possibly die if you don't wear a seatbelt. Reporting live in the newsroom, Mike Gooding, 13 News.
Well, the Coast Guard is working to figure out what caused a Chinese cargo ship to break loose from its anchor. Sky 13 was over the scene near Naval Station Norfolk this afternoon. The Coast Guard tells us the ship broke loose from its anchorage. Now, it drifted nearly a mile from shore when it ran aground. That ship is used to carry cargo, and there was some fuel aboard, but we are told it looks like none of it leaked.
This is what I found when I got home.
Only on 13 News, this Suffolk man speaks about the frightening explosion that destroyed his home and how the incident is still affecting his wife.
Then, in tonight's medical report, enjoying a tasty holiday meal without piling on the calories. Learn ways to make healthier Thanksgiving dinners.
Tracking a big storm up toward New England, let you know how that affects that area. And, of course, locally, very cold air set to move in. Let you know how that affects our local plans for the holiday next at 5.
The flu season is upon us. Tonight at 6, 13 News medical editor Catherine Barrett protects you, showing you how close local scientists are to finding a vaccine. Also, the health risks avian flu carries. Tonight at 6.
Nothing says friendship like a ton of cash and prizes.
On the last wheel, these two lucky teens won $100,000.
Don't miss Teen Best Friends Week on Wheel.
Weeknights at 7.
Now through Wednesday at Friedman's, you'll save up to 50% off a beautiful selection of jewelry. Plus, take up to an extra $300 off. 4 days only at Friedman's, personal jewelers since 1920.
Millions of people have joined the Ford and Lincoln Mercury families. And now we're making it even easier for you to join. Introducing Keep It Simple pricing. No tags, no hassles, no gimmicks. The price you see is the price you'll get. Keep It Simple pricing. It's simply a great value. And your Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers are willing to shake on it. Check it out today at Ford.com.
Hey, Ty Pennington here with something that's all for you. It's Alltel's All For You National Wireless Plan. For only $49.99, you get 1,000 national anytime minutes, unlimited nights and weekends, and mobile to mobile. And if you get 2 lines, you get all this for only $75, and your nights start at 7 for free. Finally, a plan that's all for you. So call or stop by your Alltel store today.
With all this from America's largest owned and operated wireless network, what's not to love?
Here's another opportunity from WVEC TV's Job Center. Don't miss Lillian Vernon's 3-day hiring event, Monday, November 21st through Wednesday, November 23rd from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Lillian Vernon is now hiring for seasonal call center and warehouse opportunities. Apply in person. Day, evening, and overnight shifts are available. Don't miss Lillian Vernon's hiring events. For more information, call 427-7901 or log on to WVEC.com.
You're watching WVEC TV 13.
Now through Wednesday at Friedman's, you'll save up to 50% off. Plus, take up to an extra $300 off just in time for the holidays. Through Wednesday only at Friedman's, personal jewelers since 1920.
Download WVEC.com desktop weather.
Traffic looking pretty good out here. We're at the downtown tunnel looking at a beautiful shot of the skyline and a shot of the Berkeley Bridge. All of those headlights on the left-hand side, that's traffic crossing the Berkeley Bridge coming from Norfolk into Portsmouth. Looking quite good, just moderate delays for this time of the evening. Headed out of Portsmouth into Norfolk, 264 westbound, nice and steady, or eastbound headed toward the oceanfront, nice and steady as well. Backed up to Granby Street and to Settlers Landing for anyone using the HRBT. And this evening so far, we really have no accidents to report up on those interstates. That's the latest for now. Benita Adams, live from Sky 13 News.
In tonight's 13 News Medical Report, trimming the fat from the Thanksgiving holiday.
You'll be giving thanks for this next report. We have practical tips on how to shave calories and fat from your Thanksgiving table. 13 News Medical Editor Catherine Barrett joins us now with the story. Don't tell me you're going to take all of the fun out of Thanksgiving.
You can do this, Regina. You can do this. Now, you know everybody talks about splurging at the holiday. The top 3 calorie counters: alcohol, too much; portions, too big; and actual fat and calorie content, too high. You know, your Thanksgiving feast doesn't have to be that fattening.
It's no easy task to change a tradition, so we called in the nutrition twins to shape up the holiday platter. First, the turkey, dark or light.
The calories double, and so does the fat as you add the dark meat and the skin. So for that 3-ounce serving, 200 calories and 10 grams of fat, skinless white meat will get only 115 calories and less than a gram of fat.
Now, gravy. 1 cup is around 150 calories and 6 grams of fat.
But we can really get that amount down if you refrigerate the gravy and then skim the fat off the top. You can make the gravy fat-free and bring the calories down to 80 calories per cup.
Then, what you put the gravy on? The mashed potatoes.
Why don't you try making the mashed potatoes with skim milk and either butter buds or a little bit of garlic powder. It's only going to cost you 80 calories and less than a gram of fat.
Traditional stuffing will stuff you full with 190 calories and 8 grams of fat for a meager half cup. So,
don't bake your stuffing inside the bird. When you do that, all of the fat drips in and it really raises the calories and the fat level. Do it on the stovetop. Add in about 3 to 4 cups of non-fat, low-sodium chicken broth, and that's really going to keep it moist.
And don't cut out dessert. It's the holidays. Just cut back.
Be sure to allow yourself, if there's something like that, to have a very small portion of your desired food.
So hold the butter and fat, cut back on portions of the fattening stuff, and you'll have a happy, but not so fattening Thanksgiving. Now, if you weren't watching TV, taking notes there, don't worry, just go to my medical reports on WVEC.com. You'll find the Nutrition Twins ideas. Catherine Barrett, 13 News.
Yeah, right, Catherine. A group of Hurricane Katrina volunteers from James Madison University may end up on national television. The Oprah Winfrey Show will tape hurricane relief workers in Biloxi, Mississippi tomorrow and Thanksgiving. The taping for a future Oprah show features volunteers, including some from JMU, removing debris, assisting with meals at a shelter facility, and working on light construction along the Gulf Coast. 56 students, faculty, and staff members from Harrisonburg left Sunday on a week-long trip to Biloxi.
Now, your 13 News Weather Lab forecast. Here's Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lawson.
Cold air continues to rush into the region. We've already seen a little bit of a taste of that here locally, especially in the upper levels of the atmosphere. Now it's working its way down closer to the ground. No snow reported. We had said yesterday there was a slight chance maybe as the rain was exiting we would see something mixing in just briefly. Never saw any reports of that. As we had said, there'd be a pretty slim chance of that. Look out to the west, though, in western areas of Virginia, and it is obviously not far, a couple hundred miles west of us. We are already seeing some significant snows, which reminds me, by the way, that tomorrow, or no, day after tomorrow, I believe it is opening day for wintergreen and snowshoe. And all this year, just like in other years, we will have all the ski resort reports online at WVEC.com. So check them out there. I know they've been laying down a lot of base over the last few days. So here's the forecast as we go through tonight locally. Temperatures getting cold, cold, cold. With clearing skies, we're going to be down into the mid-30s. Some inland areas are actually going to be more like the upper 20s to near 30, with northwest winds pretty brisk, about 12 to 22 miles per hour. Again, the higher amounts will be closer to, or the higher speeds will be closer to the water. The lower speeds, maybe even a little lower than 12 back inland. So here's the rest of the forecast then as we break it all down. Look at that classic looking storm system. We mention all the time how storms that are large, very mature storms look like a comma shape. I think as I step back here, you can see that looks very much like a comma. And of course, the front side of it is typically the cold front. On the back side, what we call the head of the comma, sort of, that's the upper level storm. That came slicing through the region, of course, now exiting pretty quickly to the north. You can see all the snow we talked about breaking out, especially west of the mountains. Every so often, one or two of those clouds will shift eastward overnight. But notice in my forecast, we really don't carry much of a threat of any kind of precipitation east of the Appalachians overnight and into tomorrow. So we start with a lot of sunshine, especially during the afternoon with the instability setting up. That means really, really, really cold air aloft and just chilly air down at the surface. We're going to have that unstable situation setting up. So maybe a couple of clouds in the afternoon. Tomorrow night, I know you had to look quickly, but there was a weak little system trying to move through, bringing a chance of a rain shower Wednesday night. And then Thursday, it looks like it should be gone in time to leave us some sunshine for your Thanksgiving and some warmer temperatures. Certainly nothing really warm out there right now to track, though. We're talking 40s most of the region, 20s and 30s west of us, and still some 50s from Hampton Roads down to the south. 49 in Virginia Beach right now, 48 Hampton. Most spots, though, right very close to 50. Winds out of the northwest at 8 miles per hour. The wind gusts really strong earlier. Now look at that. They're only in the 18 to 20 some mile per hour range. So the winds have been diminishing. Unofficially, we made it up to 54 today with a low of 45. Tonight, clearing in cold mid-30s, even colder inland in the 7-day forecast. A chilly one tomorrow, 47 degrees, and then a chance of a shower Wednesday night, but it should be gone by Thursday for Thanksgiving. 58 nicer degrees, and then really chilly again on Friday before we sort of rebound by the end of the weekend. So it's up and down over the next week.
That's okay.
Yeah. Keep the coat handy.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, ahead on 13 News, something that we haven't seen for a while. Gas for less than $1. Seems like a miracle, but we're going to explain why it was actually reality in one Hampton Roads community today.
But first, it's a list every parent needs this holiday season. We'll show you which toys would have children playing with danger when 13 News at 5 continues.
This weather segment is brought to you by Dodge. Tonight's 13 News Medical Report is sponsored by OBC Hospital.
I smell a Henny. I knew it! The new Ram 1500 with a new front end, new suspension, new frame. It's got a Henny, all right, and that MDS to save you gas. A new interior. Woo! That can't be good.
During November, only get a $1,000 bonus cash allowance that gets you a 2005 Dodge Ram 1500 for under 15 grand.
Better gifts get better reactions. Wednesday only at Heck, saving is easier than ever. Use your shopping pass to save an extra 20% on almost everything in the store, even regular prices and our best designers. Jewelry 50 plus an extra 20% off with the pass. All sportswear sale price plus an extra 20 off. Amazing savings on handbags too. Shoes and boots an extra 20% off sale prices. For absolutely one day only, save 20% on almost everything. 15 in home. You'll be amazed at what you can give from Heck's.
Improvement.
Thank you, Doctor.
Cholesterol's down. Well done. That's great.
Hello, doctor's office.
And I gotta tell you, nice job.
Mr. Decker?
I told you we'd get it down.
Yep, even doctors can have high cholesterol. When diet and exercise aren't enough, adding Lipitor can lower your bad cholesterol from 39 to 60%. In fact, more cardiologists surveyed said they prescribe Lipitor for their own family members than any other cholesterol brand. Lipitor is one of many cholesterol-lowering treatment options in addition to diet and exercise that you and your doctor can consider. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or who may become pregnant. Simple blood tests are needed to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor about other medications you are taking or if you experience muscle pain pain or weakness, as these may be signs of a rare but serious side effect. Ask your doctor about Lipitor today.
Go ahead. Oh, no, you. Nah. No, you. I insist. Thank you. That's so sweet. That new helmet really complements your features. You really think so? Yeah.
What's got into them? It's sweet caramel combos down at IHOP.
Get sweet with new sweet caramel combos. Rich sweet caramel French toast or caramel apple pancakes or crepes. Served up with all your favorites. Starting at only $4.99. Give the gift of happiness. A new IHOP gift card. IHOP. Come hungry, leave happy.
There's trouble in Toyland again this year, and the government wants to make sure your children don't become victims during playtime. From choking hazards to toys that are too loud, you need a second shopping list on Black Friday.
This is a list of toys not to buy for your child because of hidden dangers. 13 News reporter Michelle Wright has a look at the list.
U.S. Public Interest Research Group, or PIRG, says it's tested 8 toys for phthalates, a class of chemicals used to soften otherwise hard plastic, and that 6 of them contain detectable levels of phthalates, which in high doses has proved harmful to animal reproductive systems. There's only limited scientific information on whether they hurt humans. Also, PIRG says its researchers found toys on store shelves that pose choking hazards.
An empty toilet paper roll. If a small part fits into this, it is probably too small for your child under the age of 3.
The organization says this toy poses a strangulation threat because of its cord and that it can cause eye injuries.
And the weight of the ball at the end gives it powerful momentum when it is swung.
The Toy Industry Association says the PIRG report creates the wrong impression.
They hype to the extent that they create hazards that most parents will never find in toys in order to essentially needlessly frighten parents into thinking that toys are not tested, toys are dangerous.
We work year-round to ensure toy safety. Toy Industry Association recommends that if a parent has a concern about a particular toy, that they should contact the toy manufacturer directly.
Michelle Wright, 13 News.
You can have a look at the troubled toy list in the links section of WVEC.com. And next on 13 News, many of you take the Steel Bridge to work every day, and you know an opening can slow you down.
That's right, and tonight a decision about openings at the Chesapeake Bridge could make your commute a whole lot longer. We'll be live to explain why. Also,
Thanksgiving is just days away, and so is Deployment Day for the USS Porter and the USS Carr. I'm Joe Flanagan on board USS Porter, and coming up, we'll give you a preview of how these folks feel on this day.
The perfect gift. Something shimmering, glittery, something finely stitched, precisely crafted. The perfect gift should have it all. Presenting the Buick Red Tag event, where you can lease an 06 LaCrosse CX with an estimated 30 miles per gallon highway for around $249 a month. Call for details. The price on our tag is the price you pay, not a penny more. Go to your Buick dealer, and while there, experience the all-new Lucerne.
Atlantic Shores is expanding to satisfy more folks like resident Jim Hutchinson.
There's so much available at Atlantic Shores. The dining program is 5-star, no question about that. We get out and do things. We go to all sorts of musical events. I drive out to various golf courses to play. It's a resort community, and we live in it. It's a good decision.
Expansion means new villas and apartment homes. One could be yours. Call Atlantic Shores today.
The Breast Health Center at OBC Hospital is known nationwide. Patients travel from all over the country for deep, flat breast reconstruction procedure. This sophisticated microsurgical technique allows for the breast to be reconstructed with the patient's own tissues without the loss of any muscle. Our highly skilled and experienced microsurgeons are able to reconstruct natural breast and help renew a woman's sense of femininity. OBC, where every square inch is devoted to healing. Imagine Billy Joel or Elton John playing piano live in your home. That's what the new Disclavier piano offers. Just put in the CD, sit back, relax, and enjoy. The state-of-the-art Disclavier is a home entertainment center. Sing karaoke or teach yourself to play the piano with Smart Key. To learn more, visit your local Yamaha dealer in Virginia Beach, Chesapeake, Williamsburg, and Yorktown.
Mercedes-Benz winter event now and see all the exciting new rides we have to offer. There's sure to be something for every wish list.
Now's the time to race over to Value City Furniture for the Thanksgiving Marathon Sale.
Where these low-profile curio cabinets are just $49 each. The Marathon Sale.
Real-time closed captioning of 13 News at 5, 5:30, and 6 is sponsored by Dodge. Grab life by the horns. Dodge.
FEMA is giving Gulf Coast residents affected by this year's hurricanes another 2 weeks to stay in hotels. The original date to move out was December 1st, but that has been changed to December 15th. FEMA said last week it had spent $274 million on hotel rooms for storm victims. But critics said the original deadline didn't give evacuees enough time to find alternatives. About 500,000 Katrina victims have received housing assistance.
We have a 13 News update to last night's big story, the propane truck crash in Suffolk. Police have charged the driver with reckless driving and failure to maintain proper control of the vehicle. That accident blocked Bennett's Pasture Road in Suffolk for more than 8 hours. It also forced officials to evacuate nearly